The day Earth changed forever started like any other. Dr. Jae-Sung Kim sat in his office at the Seoul National University, looking over his latest research papers. His eyes were tired from staring at complex equations all night. He reached for his coffee mug, only to find it empty. Jae-Sung sighed and stood up. He needed a break. As he walked to the coffee machine, he heard excited voices coming from the common room. Curious, he poked his head in. A group of his colleagues were gathered around a TV, their faces a mix of shock and wonder. On the screen, a stern-faced news anchor was speaking rapidly. We interrupt this broadcast for breaking news. The International Space Agency has confirmed that Earth has received a transmission from an advanced alien civilization. Jae-Sung's coffee mug slipped from his hand, shattering on the floor. No one noticed. All eyes were glued to the screen. The news anchor continued. The alien civilization calls itself the Galactic Council. They claim to represent over 500 species across our galaxy. This is the first confirmed contact with extraterrestrial life in human history. The room erupted in excited chatter. Jae-Sung's mind raced. Everything he knew about the universe was about to change. Suddenly, the TV screen flickered. The news anchor disappeared, replaced by a strange, alien face. It had large, almond-shaped eyes and bluish-green skin. When it spoke, its words were translated into various Earth languages. Greetings, humans of Earth. I am High Counselor Zix of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your planet for some time. We have decided it is time to make official contact. The alien paused, its expression unreadable. However, we must express our disappointment. Your technology is far more primitive than we expected. Your reliance on fossil fuels, your limited space travel capabilities, it's all quite outdated by galactic standards. Jae-Sung felt a mix of awe and anger. Who were these aliens to judge humanity? High Counselor Zix continued. Despite this, we are willing to open diplomatic relations with Earth. We request that you send a representative to our headquarters for negotiations. Choose wisely, humans. The future of your species may depend on it. The transmission ended, leaving the room in stunned silence. Days passed in a blur of global panic and frantic preparations. World leaders argued over who should represent Earth. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology that had made the transmission possible. 1 week after the transmission, Jae-Sung received a surprising call. It was from the president of South Korea herself. Dr. Kim, she said, her voice tired but determined. We need you. The United Nations has chosen you to represent Earth in the negotiations with the Galactic Council. Jae-Sung was shocked. But why me? He asked. Your work in theoretical physics is unparalleled, the president explained. If anyone can understand their advanced technology, it's you. Plus, your calm demeanor and quick thinking make you ideal for diplomatic talks. Jae-Sung took a deep breath. The fate of humanity would rest on his shoulders. It was a terrifying thought, but also thrilling. I accept, he said finally. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. Jae-Sung underwent crash courses in diplomacy and alien biology. He studied every scrap of information they had on the Galactic Council, which wasn't much. Finally, the day of departure arrived. A small team had been assembled to accompany Jae-Sung. A linguist, a biologist, and a military officer for security. They gathered at a secret launch site, where a sleek spacecraft waited for them. As Jae-Sung boarded the ship, he turned for one last look at Earth. The blue and green planet seemed so small, so vulnerable. He silently vowed to do everything in his power to protect it. The ship's engines roared to life. Jae-Sung strapped himself in, his heart pounding. As they lifted off, breaking free of Earth's atmosphere, he couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. They were heading into the unknown, to face an alien civilization that saw them as primitive. But Jae-Sung was determined to prove them wrong. Humans might not have the most advanced technology, but they had courage, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. As the stars streaked by outside the ship's windows, Jae-sung allowed himself a small smile. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin, and he was right at the center of it. The journey to the Galactic Council's headquarters took 3 Earth months. For Jae-sung and his team, it felt like forever. They spent their time studying alien languages and customs, trying to prepare for whatever they might face. Finally, their ship approached a massive space station. It was shaped like a giant wheel, with spokes leading to a central hub. Jae-sung's eyes widened as he saw hundreds of alien ships zipping around it. "It's incredible," he whispered. Their ship docked at the station. As the airlock hissed open, Jae-sung took a deep breath. This was it. They stepped out into a bustling docking bay. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes. Jae-sung tried not to stare. A tall, blue-skinned alien approached them. "Welcome to Galactic Central," it said in perfect Korean. "I am Lox, your guide. Please follow me." As they walked through the station, Jae-sung couldn't help but feel small. Everything was so advanced, so beyond anything on Earth. Holograms floated in the air, showing star maps and alien writing. Robots zipped by, carrying out tasks. They entered a large, circular room. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in tiered seats, all facing a central platform. High Counselor Zix stood there, looking down at them. "Ah, the humans have arrived," Zix said, his voice booming through the room. "Please, come forward." Jae-sung and his team stepped onto the platform. He could feel all eyes on them. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Jae-sung began, his voice shaking slightly. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." A ripple of laughter spread through the room. Jae-sung felt his face grow hot. "Peace, knowledge," Zix said, shaking his head. "What could you possibly offer us? Your technology is centuries behind ours. You haven't even mastered interstellar travel." Another alien stood up. "I heard they still use combustion engines," it said, causing more laughter. Jae-sung tried to stay calm. "While it's true our technology may not be as advanced, we have much to offer. Our art, our culture, our unique perspective." "Art? Culture?" Zix interrupted. "We didn't invite you here for a museum tour. We're looking for species that can contribute to galactic progress." For the next few hours, Jae-sung and his team were bombarded with questions. Every answer they gave seemed to amuse or disappoint the council. When Jae-sung explained their fastest spacecraft, an alien child in the audience giggled. By the end, Jae-sung felt completely deflated. Everything humans had accomplished, everything they were proud of, seemed tiny and insignificant here. "Well," Zix said finally, "I suppose we could offer you a probationary membership. You'll be allowed limited access to some of our lower-level technology. Perhaps in a few centuries, you'll catch up enough to be useful." Jae-sung wanted to argue, to defend Earth's honor, but he knew it would be useless. "We accept your offer," he said, his voice hollow. As they left the council chamber, Jae-sung's team was quiet. They all felt the weight of their failure. But as they walked, Jae-sung noticed something. In a side corridor, he saw 2 aliens arguing over a holographic display. The image showed a complex mathematical equation, one that looked familiar. Jae-sung stopped, staring at it. Suddenly, he realized why it was familiar. It was similar to the work he had been doing back on Earth, research into higher dimensions. "Excuse me," he said to the aliens, "are you having trouble with that equation?" The aliens looked at him in surprise. "This is advanced dimensional theory," one said. "It's far beyond your understanding." Jae-sung smiled. "Maybe not," he said. He stepped forward and began explaining his ideas. As he talked, the aliens' eyes widened. They started asking questions, then calling over others to listen. For the first time since arriving, Jae-sung felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe humans weren't as far behind as the council thought. Maybe they just needed to show their strengths in the right way. As word spread about Jae-sung's insights, he realized something important. Humanity might be mocked now, but they had potential. And someday, they would surprise the entire galaxy. While Jae-sung was facing humiliation in space, things were changing back on Earth. In a small secret lab in Seoul, engineer Soo-min Park was working late into the night. Her desk was covered in papers filled with complex drawings and equations. Soo-min hadn't slept properly in days. Her long black hair was messy, and dark circles had formed under her eyes. But she didn't care. She was close to something big. She could feel it. There has to be a way, she muttered to herself. We can't let those aliens look down on us forever. Soo-min had been part of the team that built the ship that took Jae-sung to the Galactic Council. When she heard how the aliens had mocked human technology, she became determined to prove them wrong. Her research focused on a wild idea: accessing the seventh dimension. Most scientists thought it was impossible, but Soo-min believed it could be the key to revolutionary space travel. As the sun rose, casting a warm glow through the lab windows, Soo-min realized she needed help. Her engineering skills could only take her so far. She needed someone who understood the deepest secrets of the universe. That's when she remembered Dr. Eun-ji Choi, a brilliant quantum mechanics expert. Soo-min had met her at a conference years ago. If anyone could help make this crazy idea work, it was Eun-ji. Soo-min picked up her phone and dialed Eun-ji's number. After a few rings, a sleepy voice answered. Hello, Eun-ji. It's Soo-min Park. I'm sorry to call so early, but I need your help. It's about saving humanity's reputation in the galaxy. There was a pause. Then Eun-ji laughed. Well, that's not something you hear every day. Tell me more. Soo-min explained her idea about the seventh dimension. As she talked, Eun-ji became more and more excited. This is insane, Eun-ji said. But it might just work. I'm in. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Soo-min and Eun-ji worked day and night, combining their knowledge of engineering and quantum mechanics. They filled whiteboards with equations and built small test devices. Their first attempts failed spectacularly. One device exploded, leaving a scorch mark on the lab ceiling. Another created a small black hole that sucked up half of Soo-min's notes before disappearing. But they didn't give up. With each failure, they learned something new. Slowly but surely, they were getting closer to their goal. One day, as they were taking a short break, Eun-ji asked, "Do you think we're crazy for trying this?" Soo-min sipped her coffee and smiled. Probably. But all the best scientists in history were a little crazy. We have to be, to imagine things no one else can see. Their work didn't go unnoticed. Other scientists began to whisper about the strange experiments happening in Soo-min's lab. Some thought they were wasting time and money. Others were curious but skeptical. The head of their research institute, Dr. Min Seo-kang, called them into his office. He was a stern man with gray hair and thick glasses. "What exactly are you two working on?" he demanded. "I'm hearing some very strange rumors." Soo-min and Eun-ji looked at each other nervously. Then Soo-min took a deep breath and explained their project. She talked about the seventh dimension, about new forms of space travel, about showing the galaxy what humans could really do. As she spoke, Dr. Kang's expression changed from skepticism to wonder. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, "This is either brilliant or completely insane. Maybe both, but we can't afford to ignore it. I'll get you more funding and resources. Just try not to blow up the whole building, okay?" Soo-min and Eun-ji left his office feeling a mix of relief and excitement. They had support now, but also more pressure. The whole world would be watching them. As they walked back to their lab, Eun-ji said, "You know, even if this doesn't work, we're pushing the boundaries of science. That's worth something, right?" Soo-min nodded. "It is, but it will work. It has to. For Earth, for humanity. We're going to change everything." With renewed determination, they'd returned to their work. The path ahead was long and difficult, but they were ready to face it. The Seventh Dimension Project had officially begun. 3 years passed since Su-min and Yunji started the Seventh Dimension Project. They worked tirelessly, facing many challenges along the way. Some days, they felt close to giving up, but they always found the strength to keep going. One cold winter morning, Su-min arrived at the lab early. She found Yunji already there, staring at a computer screen with wide eyes. "Yunji, what's wrong?" Su-min asked, worried. Yunji turned to her, a mix of excitement and disbelief on her face. I think we did it," she whispered. Su-min rushed over to look at the screen. What she saw made her gasp. The computer showed a simulation of their latest experiment. According to the data, they had successfully created a tiny portal to the seventh dimension. "Is this real?" Su-min asked, her heart racing. Yunji nodded. "I've checked the numbers 3 times. It's real. We need to test it for real." They spent the next few hours preparing for the experiment. They set up their equipment carefully, double-checking everything. Both women were nervous but excited. Finally, they were ready. Su-min took a deep breath and pressed the start button. The machine hummed to life, lights blinking on its control panel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, a small sphere of light appeared in the center of the room. It pulsed with strange, shifting colors that seemed to bend in impossible ways. "It's beautiful," Yunji whispered. Su-min couldn't speak. She just stared at the portal, tears in her eyes. They had done it. They had touched the seventh dimension. Just then, the door burst open. Dr. Min-seo Kang rushed in, followed by a group of scientists and government officials. "We detected a massive energy spike," Dr. Kang said breathlessly. "What's going on here?" Su-min and Yunji explained what had happened. As they talked, the group stared at the pulsing portal in amazement. One of the government officials stepped forward. He was a serious-looking man in a dark suit. "This changes everything," he said. "We need to expand this project immediately. The whole world needs to know about this." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. The lab was expanded, and more scientists were brought in to help. News of the breakthrough spread quickly, causing excitement around the world. Su-min and Yunji became instant celebrities. They were interviewed on TV, featured in magazines, and even invited to meet world leaders. It was overwhelming, but they tried to stay focused on their work. As the project grew, they faced new challenges. How could they make the portal bigger? How could they control where it led? Could they use it to travel through space? They worked day and night to answer these questions. Slowly but surely, they made progress. The portal grew larger and more stable. They learned to control its destination, opening windows to different parts of the galaxy. One day, as they were running tests on the enlarged portal, something unexpected happened. A small object fell through, landing on the lab floor with a clang. Su-min picked it up carefully. It was a piece of metal, covered in strange symbols. It looked like part of an alien spaceship. "Yunji," she said, her voice shaking. "I think we just got our first alien artifact." This discovery caused even more excitement. It proved that the seventh dimension could be used for space travel in ways they had only dreamed of before. As word of their success spread, Su-min couldn't help but think of Jae-sung, still out there among the stars. She hoped he would hear about their breakthrough soon. She wanted the aliens to know that humans weren't as primitive as they thought. Little did she know, their discovery was about to change the balance of power in the galaxy. Humanity was on the brink of a new era, and Su-min and Yunji were leading the way. As they stood looking at the glowing portal, Yunji turned to Su-min with a smile. "Ready to show the universe what humans can really do?" she asked. Su-min nodded, a determined look in her eyes. "More than ready," she said. "Let's make history." The news of the Seventh Dimension Project's success spread like wildfire across Earth. People everywhere talked about the amazing breakthrough. World leaders met to discuss what to do next. They all agreed on one thing. Earth needed to build a spaceship using this new technology. In a secret facility near Seoul, work began on humanity's most advanced spacecraft. They called it the HSS Transcendence. HS stood for Human Starship. Soo-min and Yeon-jae led the team that designed the ship. They worked day and night, pushing the limits of their new understanding of the seventh dimension. The ship took shape slowly, its strange, shimmering hull unlike anything seen before. As the ship neared completion, an important question arose. Who would captain this historic vessel? The world's space agencies held a global search for the best pilot. After months of tests and interviews, they found their captain, Hae-jin Kang. She was a brilliant pilot with years of experience flying experimental aircraft. When they told her about the mission, her eyes lit up with excitement. "I've dreamed of exploring space since I was a little girl," Hae-jin said. "I never imagined it would be like this." The day of the launch arrived. The whole world watched as the HSS Transcendence prepared for its maiden voyage. The ship sat on the launch pad, its hull glowing with a soft, otherworldly light. Inside the ship, Captain Hae-jin sat at the controls. Her heart raced, but her hands were steady. She had trained for this moment for months. "All systems are go," she reported. "Ready for seventh dimension, jump on your mark." In the control room, Soo-min and Yeon-jae looked at each other. This was it, the moment of truth. Soo-min took a deep breath and spoke into the microphone. "Captain Kang, you have permission to jump. Good luck and Godspeed." Hae-jin nodded. Even though they couldn't see her, she pressed the button to activate the seventh dimension drive. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the ship began to glow brighter and brighter. In a flash of brilliant light, it disappeared from Earth's surface. In the control room, everyone held their breath. Had it worked, or had they just lost their first seventh dimension ship? Seconds ticked by, then minutes. The tension in the room grew with each passing moment. Suddenly, a voice crackled over the radio. "Control, this is Captain Kang. The jump was successful. You're not going to believe where we are." Cheers erupted in the control room. Soo-min and Yeon-jae hugged each other, tears of joy in their eyes. "Where are you, Captain?" Soo-min asked excitedly. There was a pause before Hae-jin replied. We're at the Galactic Council headquarters. We appeared right in the middle of their space dock. You should see their faces." On board the HSS Transcendence, Hae-jin looked out the window in amazement. Alien ships of all shapes and sizes surrounded them. In the distance, she could see the massive wheel-shaped station that was the Council's home. Aliens were rushing around in confusion. Some pointed at the human ship. Others seemed to be calling for security. "What should we do?" Hae-jin asked the control room. Back on Earth, Soo-min and Yeon-jae looked at each other. They hadn't planned for this exact situation, but they knew this was humanity's chance to show the galaxy what they could do. "Captain," Soo-min said, her voice firm, "hail the Galactic Council. Tell them Earth would like to renegotiate our position in the galactic community." Hae-jin smiled. "With pleasure," she said. As she prepared to send the message, Hae-jin couldn't help but feel proud. Humans had been mocked and underestimated, but now they had done something no other species had managed. They had mastered the seventh dimension. The HSS Transcendence floated in space, a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. As alien ships began to approach, Hae-jin knew that everything was about to change. The age of human exploration in the galaxy had truly begun. The arrival of the HSS Transcendence threw the Galactic Council into chaos. Alarms blared throughout the space station. Alien ships scrambled to surround the unexpected human vessel. Inside the council chambers, High Counselor Zix was in the middle of a boring meeting when an aide rushed in. The aide whispered urgently in Zix's ear. Zix's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible," Zix shouted, jumping to his feet. "Humans? Here? How?" Meanwhile, on the HSS Transcendence, Captain Hai Jin Kang remained calm. She opened a communication channel to the Galactic Council. "This is Captain Hai Jin Kang of the human starship Transcendence," she announced. "We come in peace and request an immediate audience with the Council." There was a long pause. Then a familiar voice responded. It was Jae-sung Kim, the human ambassador who had faced such humiliation years ago. "Captain Kang, is that really you?" Jae-sung asked, his voice filled with wonder. "How did you get here?" Hai Jin smiled. "It's a long story, Ambassador. One I think the whole council needs to hear." Within an hour, the HSS Transcendence was guided to a docking bay. As Hai Jin stepped out, she was met by a group of stunned aliens and one very excited human. Jae-sung rushed forward, shaking Hai Jin's hand vigorously. "You have no idea how happy I am to see you," he said. "Things are about to change around here, aren't they?" Hai Jin nodded. "That's the plan," she replied with a wink. They were escorted to the council chambers. As they entered, Hai Jin could feel hundreds of alien eyes on her. Some looked curious, others seemed afraid. High Counselor Zix stood at the center, trying to hide his shock. "Well," Zix said, his voice strained, "it seems the humans have surprised us. Perhaps you'd like to explain how you got here." Hai Jin stepped forward. She told the council about the Seventh Dimension Project, about Su Min and Eunji's breakthrough, and about the construction of the HSS Transcendence. As she spoke, the chamber grew quieter and quieter. When she finished, there was complete silence. Then, suddenly, one alien stood up and started clapping. Others joined in. Soon, the whole chamber was filled with applause. High Counselor Zix raised his hands for quiet. "This is unprecedented," he said. "No species has ever mastered seventh dimension travel. We owe you an apology, humans. We severely underestimated you." Jae-sung stepped forward. "Thank you, High Counselor," he said. "But an apology isn't enough. We want to renegotiate Earth's position in the galactic community." Zix nodded slowly. "Of course. That seems fair." Over the next few days, Jae-sung led intense negotiations. With the HS Transcendence as proof of human ingenuity, he had a strong position. Other species, excited by the possibilities of seventh dimension travel, supported Earth's bid for greater status. Back on Earth, Su Min and Eunji watched the negotiations via a special communication link. They could hardly believe how quickly things were changing. "We did it," Eunji said softly. "We really did it." Su Min squeezed her friend's hand. "We all did it," she replied. Every human who ever dreamed of the stars played a part in this moment. As the negotiations neared their end, High Counselor Zix made a surprising announcement. In light of their remarkable achievement, he said, "Earth will be granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and privileges." The chamber erupted in cheers. Jae-sung and Hai Jin hugged each other, tears in their eyes. After years of being looked down upon, humanity had finally proven its worth. As the celebration continued, Hai Jin couldn't help but think about the future. With seventh dimension technology, the entire universe was open to exploration. Human ships could travel further and faster than any in history. But more than that, Earth had gained the respect of the galactic community. No longer would they be seen as primitive or backward. They had shown that with determination and creativity, anything was possible. As Hai Jin looked out at the sea of alien faces, now smiling and congratulating her, she felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. The stars were no longer out of reach. They were humanity's new home. 1 year had passed since the HSS Transcendence's historic journey to the Galactic Council headquarters. Earth had changed dramatically in that time. The planet was now a hub of intergalactic activity and scientific research. In Seoul, Su Min and Eunji stood on the balcony of their new research center. The skyline was dotted with strange, alien-looking buildings. Ships of all shapes and sizes flew overhead, some from Earth, others from distant worlds. "Can you believe how much has changed?" Yunji asked, sipping her coffee. Su-min shook her head, smiling. "Sometimes I think I'm dreaming," she replied. Inside the research center, scientists from a dozen different species worked together. They were all studying the seventh dimension, trying to unlock its secrets. Earth had become the leader in this new field of science. Meanwhile, in space, Captain Hai-Jin Kang was preparing for another mission. The HSS Transcendence floated in orbit, its hull shimmering with energy. Hai-Jin looked out the window at Earth below, feeling a mix of excitement and nostalgia. "Ready for our next jump, Captain?" her alien co-pilot, Zur, asked. Zur was from a species that looked like giant, friendly squids. Hai-Jin nodded. "Always ready, Zur. Let's see what's out there." The HSS Transcendence disappeared in a flash of light, heading to a part of the galaxy no one had ever explored before. Back on Earth, Jae-sung was busy too. As Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, he had a lot of work to do. Today, he was meeting with a group of alien tourists. They had come to see the planet that had surprised everyone. "And this," Jae-sung said, pointing to a statue, "is where we first made contact with the Galactic Council. We've come a long way since then." The aliens took pictures and asked questions. They were curious about everything, from Earth's history to its food. Jae-sung answered patiently, proud to share his planet's story. In schools across Earth, children were learning about their new place in the galaxy. They studied alien languages and cultures alongside math and science. Many dreamed of becoming space explorers or xenobiologists when they grew up. One day, Su-min received an urgent call. It was from the Galactic Council. They had detected strange energy readings from a distant part of space. They needed Earth's help to investigate. Su-min quickly assembled a team. She and Yunji joined Captain Hai-Jin on the HSS Transcendence. Together with scientists from 5 other species, they set off to explore the mystery. As they traveled through the 7th dimension, Su-min thought about how far they had come. Just a few years ago, aliens had laughed at humans. Now, they were leading an important galactic mission. The HSS Transcendence emerged from its jump near a strange, swirling mass of energy. It was like nothing they had ever seen before. "What is it?" Hai-Jin asked, staring at the view screen in awe. Yunji ran some scans, her eyes widening. It's a natural portal to another dimension," she exclaimed. "One we've never encountered before." Excitement filled the ship. This was a discovery that could change everything they knew about the universe, and humans were at the center of it all. As they began their study of the new phenomenon, Su-min couldn't help but smile. Humanity had not only caught up to the rest of the galaxy, they were now pushing the boundaries of known science. The aliens who had once mocked them now looked to Earth for leadership and innovation. Humans had proven that, with determination, creativity, and a little bit of craziness, anything was possible. As the HSS Transcendence floated near the new dimensional portal, Su-min, Yunji, and Hai-Jin stood together on the bridge. They looked out at the swirling energy, feeling a sense of pride and wonder. "So," Hai-Jin said with a grin, "ready for our next adventure?" Su-min and Yunji nodded. "Always," they said in unison. And with that, humanity continued its journey into the unknown, no longer the underdogs of the galaxy, but pioneers of a new cosmic age.